The great meeting hall on Centauri Prime was filled with worried voices. 12 different alien races had sent their best leaders to talk about a growing problem. The problem was simple but scary. Colonies were disappearing. Ambassador Kethver stood up slowly. His long blue arms moved as he spoke to the crowd. "Friends, we have lost another colony. HFY 7 is gone. All 50,000 people who lived there have vanished." The room became very quiet. Commander Zix from the Crystal People called Vorthek made a sharp clicking sound with her glass-like fingers. "This is the 7th colony we have lost. Someone is taking our people and we cannot see who is doing it." Elder Morgeth was old and wise. His green skin was wet like a frog and he spoke very slowly. "Maybe we are dealing with a new type of alien, someone we have never met before." Dr. Veltar was a scientist who studied old things from the past. He had been looking at the attacks very carefully. "The way these attacks happen reminds me of something. They remind me of old stories about humans." When he said the word humans, everyone in the room felt scared. Humans were just old stories now. Parents told their children about humans to make them behave. The story said humans were a terrible race that destroyed their own planet with big bombs. Everyone thought humans were dead and gone forever, but Dr. Veltar had studied the old records. "Look at how these attacks happen. They are fast and clean. No one sees the attackers coming. No one lives to tell what happened. This is exactly how the old human military books said they would fight." Captain Zix's crystal body started to glow with fear. "But humans are just stories. They killed themselves with nuclear fire 300 years ago. We have proof of this." "Do we?" asked Dr. Veltar. "We have records that their planet burned, but we never found any human bodies. We never found their spaceships. We just assumed they all died." The meeting hall filled with nervous sounds. Different aliens made different noises when they were scared. Some clicked, some hissed, some made low humming sounds. Far away from this meeting, Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of a huge spaceship called the UZ Vigilant. The ship was completely invisible to alien sensors. It used technology that was far ahead of anything the aliens had ever seen. Jake was a tall man with short, brown hair and scars on his face from old battles. He had been fighting wars since he was 18 years old. Now he was 45 and very good at his job. His job was to steal from the aliens and make sure no one ever found out humans were still alive. "Report," Jake said to his crew. "Lieutenant." Amy Carter was a smart woman who gathered information about their enemies. She looked at her computer screen and smiled. "Sir, we got everything from HFY 7, 60 million tons of rare metals. The aliens did all the hard work of digging it up and cleaning it. We just had to take it." Commander Steve Baker was in charge of weapons and fighting. He was a big man with black hair and mean eyes. "All alien workers have been dealt with, sir." "No survivors, no evidence we were ever there," Jake nodded. This was how every mission went. Humans would find an alien colony that had valuable things. They would wait and watch until the aliens had collected and processed everything. Then they would attack quickly and take everything. Most importantly, they would make sure no aliens lived to tell anyone what they had seen. "Set course for the next target," Jake ordered. "Make sure our stealth systems are working perfectly. The day the aliens learn we are still alive is the day this easy life ends." The UZ Vigilant was a massive ship. It was 2 kilometers long and carried enough weapons to destroy an entire planet. But the aliens could not see it at all. Human technology had grown far beyond what any alien race could imagine. Jake walked to the big window at the front of his ship. He could see the stars and empty space. Somewhere out there, alien governments were trying to figure out who was attacking their colonies. They were sending out patrol ships and setting up new defenses, but none of it would help them. Humans had spent 300 years hiding in the dark spaces between galaxies. While the aliens thought they were extinct, humans had been building and learning and becoming stronger. They had developed technology that seemed like magic compared to what the aliens used. The aliens thought humans were legends, stories to frighten children. They had no idea that humanity had survived and was now the most dangerous force in the galaxy. Jake thought about his own childhood. He had been born on a secret human colony called New Texas. It was hidden so far from the main galaxy that no alien had ever found it. He grew up hearing stories about Earth and the great human empire that once existed. He learned that humans had not destroyed themselves with nuclear war. That was just a story they had created to fool the aliens. The real truth was that humans had been fighting a terrible civil war. Brother fought against brother. Whole planets burned. Millions died. The war was so bad that human leaders decided to do something desperate. They would fake their own extinction and leave the galaxy entirely. So they set off nuclear bombs on Earth to make it look like they had all died. They destroyed their space stations and colonies to hide any evidence. Then they loaded their best people and technology onto giant ships and flew away into the dark void between galaxies. For 300 years, humans had been building secret colonies and developing new weapons. They had watched from far away as aliens moved into the old human territories. The aliens thought they were claiming empty space left behind by a dead race. They had no idea they were stealing from people who were very much alive and very angry. Now it was time for humans to come home. But they would not announce themselves with messages or diplomacy. They would announce themselves the way humans always did. With overwhelming force and complete victory. Jake smiled as his ship disappeared into the darkness between stars. Soon the aliens would learn that some legends were real, and sometimes legends came back for revenge. Captain Lisa Hayes stood on the bridge of her ship and felt very frustrated. She was a Centauri officer with blue skin and 4 arms. For 3 weeks she had been hunting for the mysterious attackers who were destroying alien colonies. Her ship was one of 6 that were searching the outer edge of the galaxy. Lieutenant Ross, do you see anything on the sensors? Lisa asked. Lieutenant Ross was a young Centauri with bright green eyes. He stared at his computer screen and shook his head. Nothing, Captain. We arrived at Kepler 442 6 hours after the attack happened. Just like all the other times, whoever did this was already gone. Lisa used all 4 of her arms to work the control panels. She had been a soldier for 50 years and had fought in many battles, but she had never faced an enemy like this. The attackers came from nowhere, destroyed everything, and vanished without leaving any clues. How many people lived on Kepler 442? Lisa asked. 30,000, Ross replied. All of them are gone. But the strange thing is that all the valuable metals and crystals are missing too. Someone took everything worth stealing. Lisa walked to the big window of her ship. Outside she could see the dead planet where the colony used to be. Empty buildings stood like broken teeth. Landing pads were covered with dust. It looked like everyone had just disappeared into thin air. Captain, said another officer, we are getting a message from Fleet Command. They want us to return to base immediately. Lisa sighed. Another failed mission. Another mystery with no answers. Whoever was attacking the colonies was much smarter than anyone in the alien military. Very far away, Admiral Gary Phillips was having a much better day. He stood in the command center of the UES Retribution, a spaceship so big it was like a floating city. The ship was 2 kilometers long and carried 50,000 human soldiers and crew members. Gary was 60 years old with gray hair and coal blue eyes. He had been fighting wars since he was 20. He had seen humans fight each other in the terrible civil war that almost destroyed their species. Now he was leading humanity's return to the galaxy. Report on Operation Ghost Protocol, Gary said. To his officers, Colonel Nina Brooks was in charge of the human soldiers called Marines. She was a tough woman with short red hair and muscles like steel. Sir, we have taken control of 17 alien mining colonies. Our forces have secured all the valuable resources and established hidden bases throughout the Andromeda Spiral. Major Ben Torres ran the intelligence division. He was a thin man with dark skin who was very good at gathering secrets. Admiral, the aliens still have no idea we exist. Their patrol ships are searching for conventional enemies. They are looking For ships they can see and weapons they understand. They cannot detect our stealth technology, Gary nodded with satisfaction. Human stealth technology was 300 years ahead of anything the aliens had. Human ships could bend space around themselves to become completely invisible. They could fold through dimensions to appear and disappear instantly. The aliens were still using primitive sensors that could not detect any of this. How long until the main fleet arrives? Gary asked. Captain Karen Foster was responsible for supplies and logistics. She was a smart woman with brown hair who could organize anything. 6 months, sir. The shipyards in the Tau Ceti system are building ships as fast as they can. We will have 300 warships ready for the final phase of our plan. Gary walked to the huge window that showed the stars outside. Somewhere in that darkness, alien civilizations were living their normal lives. They had no idea that humanity had been watching them for 300 years. They did not know that humans had been studying their weaknesses and planning their defeat. The aliens thought they ruled the galaxy now. They had divided up the old human territories among themselves. They had been mining human worlds and stealing human resources for 3 centuries. They thought they were safe because they believed humans were extinct. They were very wrong. Sir, said Major Torres, we have intercepted alien communications. They are starting to panic. Some of their leaders are beginning to suspect that humans might still be alive. Gary smiled coldly. Let them suspect. Fear makes people stupid. The more afraid they become, the more mistakes they will make. Colonel Brooks looked at the tactical display showing alien fleet movements. Their ships are spread too thin. They are trying to guard too many places at once. When we are ready to reveal ourselves, they will not be able to defend anything properly. Good, Gary said. Continue with the plan. Keep taking their colonies one by one. Make sure no aliens survive. To report what they have seen. We need a few more months to get all our forces in position. The meeting ended and the officers returned to their duties. Gary remained at the window, thinking about the long journey that had brought humanity to this point. 300 years ago, humans had been destroying themselves in a brutal civil war. Entire planets had burned. Billions had died. The war was so terrible that human leaders made a desperate decision. They would fake their own extinction and flee the galaxy entirely. It had been a brilliant plan. Humans set off nuclear weapons on Earth to make it look like they had destroyed themselves. They destroyed space stations and cities to hide all evidence of their technology. Then they loaded their best people onto giant colony ships and flew away into the dark void between galaxies. For 3 centuries, humans had been building secret colonies and developing incredible technology. They had grown strong while staying hidden. They had watched as aliens moved into human space and claimed human worlds. The aliens thought they were taking abandoned territory from a dead species. Now it was time for humanity to come home. But they would not come in peace. They would come as conquerors, taking back everything that had been stolen from them. Gary looked at his reflection in the window. Tomorrow, human ships would attack 3 more alien colonies. In 6 months, the entire human fleet would emerge from the darkness. The galaxy would learn that some legends were real, and sometimes legends came back with an army. Dr. Elena Rodriguez could not believe what she was seeing. She was a scientist who studied living things from different planets. For 2 weeks, she had been looking at tissue samples from the abandoned alien colonies. What she found made her hands shake with fear. Elena worked on a research ship called Seeker of Truth. She had studied aliens for 20 years and knew the genetic patterns of every known species in the galaxy. But these samples were different. They matched something that should not exist. Computer, run the analysis again, Elena said to her machine. The computer's voice was calm and emotionless. Analysis complete. Genetic markers show 97% match with theoretical human DNA sequences from archived databases. Elena sat down hard in her chair. Humans were supposed to be extinct. Everyone knew the story. 300 years ago, humans had destroyed themselves with nuclear weapons. Their planet Earth was now a dead rock covered in radiation. No human had been seen alive since then, but the evidence was right in front of her. Someone with human DNA had been at these colony attacks. Either humans were still alive or someone else had learned to copy human genetics perfectly. Elena sent her findings to Captain Morden immediately. Within hours, every government in the galaxy was reading her report. The news spread like wildfire. Through alien space, emergency meetings were called. Fleet commanders were ordered to double their patrols, but they were looking for an enemy. That was already among them. Commander Ryan Mitchell stood on the bridge of the UES Phantom and watched. Alien ships searching frantically through the Vega system. The aliens were so close he could see the details of their hull markings. But their sensors showed empty space where his ship was hiding. Ryan was 35 years old, with black hair and green eyes. He had been born on a secret human colony and trained from childhood to be a warrior. Today was the day he had been waiting for his entire life. "Sir, we are receiving the activation signal from Admiral Phillips," said Lieutenant Sarah King from her communication station. Ryan smiled at his crew. Around him, 30 human officers prepared for the most important moment in 3 centuries. "All stations, this is your captain. Operation Revelation begins now. We are no longer hiding." Across the galaxy, the same order was being given on dozens of human ships. Stealth fields that had hidden them for months were turned off. Cloaking devices that bent space around them were deactivated. Jamming systems that had confused alien sensors were switched to attack mode. In a single moment, humanity revealed itself to the galaxy. The first alien fleet to see the humans was commanded by Admiral Kextra of the Zentari Navy. She was a veteran officer with 40 years of experience. She thought she had seen everything the galaxy could offer. She was wrong. Kextra was patrolling the Rigel system with 12 warships when her sensors officer started screaming, "Admiral, 30 unknown vessels just appeared around us. They came from nowhere." Kextra looked at her tactical display and felt her 4 hearts stop beating. 30 massive ships had materialized in perfect attack formation. They were larger than anything in the alien fleets. Their weapon systems were unlike anything she had ever seen. "Unknown vessels, identify yourselves." Kextra transmitted on all frequencies. The response came from Admiral Phillips himself. His voice was calm and cold as ice. "This is the United Earth Fleet. We are humanity, and we have returned to reclaim what was taken from us." Kextra felt her world collapse around her. Humans were real. They were alive, and they had technology that made alien ships look like toys. "That is impossible," Kextra said. "Humans are extinct. Your species destroyed itself centuries ago." "We are very much alive," Phillips replied. "And we are very unhappy about what you have done with our property." Kextra tried to think of something to say, some way to negotiate or escape. But before she could speak, the human ships opened fire. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes. Human weapons cut through alien shields like they were made of paper. Alien return fire bounced harmlessly off human armor. One by one, Kextra-S ships were destroyed with surgical precision. Kextra-S flagship was the last to die. As her ship broke apart around her, she sent one final message to Alien High Command. "Humans are real. They have returned. May the gods help us all." When the battle was over, 30 human ships floated among the wreckage of 12 alien vessels. Not a single human ship had even been damaged. The technological gap between humans and aliens was so large it was not really a fight at all. But Admiral Phillips was not finished. He opened a communication channel that reached every government in the galaxy. His message was broadcast on all frequencies so that no one could miss it. "People of the galaxy," Phillips began, "for 3 centuries, you have believed that humanity was extinct. You were wrong. We survived, and we have been watching you. We have seen you steal our worlds, mine our resources, and claim our territory as your own." The message continued as alien leaders listened in growing horror. "We do not wish to destroy you, but we will reclaim what belongs to us. You have 72 hours to send representatives to the neutral zone at Nexus point, we will discuss the terms of your surrender there. Phillips ended the transmission and smiled. Across the galaxy, alien fleets were mobilizing, but they were 300 years too late. Humanity had already won this war before it began. On the bridge of the UES Phantom, Commander Mitchell watched as alien patrol ships fled from their position. The ships that had been hunting for mysterious attackers were now running away in terror. "Sir," said Lieutenant King, "we are receiving surrender requests from 6 different alien colonies. They want to negotiate before our main fleet arrives." Mitchell nodded. Fear was a powerful weapon, and humans had just shown the galaxy exactly how powerful they had become. The aliens were beginning to understand that their peaceful 3 centuries were over. Humanity had returned, and they were no longer legends whispered in the dark. They were the new masters of the galaxy, and everyone would know it soon. The meeting station at Nexus Point had never seen anything like this before. The giant space station floated between 3 star systems in a place where gravity from all sides balanced out perfectly. It was built for the most important talks in the galaxy. Today, it would decide if there would be war or peace. Ambassador Helen Parker walked into the huge meeting room with confident steps. She was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp blue eyes. Behind her came General Marcus Lee and Admiral Phillips. They wore clean military uniforms that showed they were serious and powerful. Across the long metal table sat representatives from every major alien race. Their faces showed fear, anger, and desperate hope all mixed together. They had come here knowing they were much weaker than the humans, but they had to try to save their people. Helen sat down and looked at each alien representative carefully. She had studied all of them for months, learning their weaknesses and what they wanted most. Today she would use that knowledge. "Let us not waste time with polite words," Helen began. Her voice was strong and clear. "You all thought humans were dead. You were wrong. For 300 years you have been taking things from our old worlds. You have been stealing resources that belong to our people. We are here to talk about how you will pay us back." Elder Morgeth was the oldest alien at the table. His green amphibian skin was wrinkled with age and his eyes were cloudy, but his mind was still sharp. "Your people were thought to be extinct for 3 centuries. Under galactic law, those worlds became free territory that anyone could claim." "General." Lee smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. He was a big man with scars on his face from many battles. "Tell me, Elder, do your laws cover what happens when the original owners come back alive and have enough weapons to destroy every planet in this part of the galaxy?" The room became very quiet. Every alien knew the humans were not bluffing. They had seen what happened to Admiral Kextra's fleet. 12 alien ships destroyed in 17 minutes without the humans taking any damage at all. Captain Zix was made of living crystal and her body flickered with nervous light. "Are you threatening to kill everyone? That would be genocide." "Admiral." Philip spoke for the first time. His voice was calm and cold like winter ice. "We are telling you facts, Captain. Humanity has spent 300 years building the most powerful military force this galaxy has ever seen. We have weapons your scientists cannot understand. We could end any war before your ships even know they are under attack." Helen held up her hand to take control of the conversation again. "But that is not what we want. We are not monsters who enjoy killing. We are business people who want what is fair. You have been making money from human resources for 3 centuries. We want to make a deal instead of a war." Ambassador Kethver leaned forward with his 4 blue arms folded. He was nervous but trying to look brave. "What kind of deal?" Helen smiled for the first time since the meeting started. "The kind where humanity gets back control of our old territories and you pay us for 300 years of theft. In return, we will share some of our technology with you." She pressed a button and a holographic display appeared above the table. Technical drawings and specifications filled the air with glowing light. The alien scientists gasped when they saw what the humans were offering: faster than light communication systems that could send messages across the galaxy instantly. Dimensional folding technology that could move ships through space without using fuel. Energy weapons that could crack moons like eggs. Medical technology that could extend life for centuries. Dr. Veltar was the alien scientist who had first suspected humans might be alive. His tentacles waved frantically as he studied the hologram. This is impossible. The power needed for these systems would require the energy output of an entire star. That would be impossible with your current technology, General Lee agreed. But it is very easy with human engineering. The question you need to answer is simple. Do you want to be our business partners or do you want to be conquered? The silence that followed lasted for long minutes. The aliens looked at each other with their strange eyes and made quiet sounds in their different languages. They were trying to decide if they should trust the humans or fight them. Finally, Elder Mordred spoke again. What exactly are you asking? U.S. to do? Helen activated another hologram that showed a map of the galaxy. Red areas marked old human territory. Blue areas showed current alien holdings. Yellow areas were marked as neutral zones. We want 47 star systems returned to human control immediately, Helen said. These include Earth and all the major colony worlds that belonged to us before the war. You will also pay us compensation equal to 50% of all resources you have taken from these worlds over the past 3 centuries. Captain Zix's crystal body flashed with alarm. That would bankrupt half the governments in the galaxy. Then you should not have stolen from us for 300 years, Admiral. Phillips replied without any emotion. Helen continued. In exchange, we will provide you with limited access to our technology, communication systems, medical advances, and some defensive weapons. We will also establish trade agreements that will make all of you much richer than you are now. Ambassador, Kethver asked the question they were all thinking. And if we refuse? General Lee stood up slowly. He was much taller than any of the aliens, and his presence filled the room with menace. Then we take what we want by force. Your fleets will be destroyed, your worlds will be occupied, your people will become subjects of the human empire. He paused and looked each alien in the eye. But we would prefer to do business with you? War is expensive and messy. Trade makes everyone richer and happier. Dr. Veltar was still staring at the technology displays. Some of these advances would solve energy problems that have plagued our civilizations for millennia. Others would revolutionize medicine and, extend the lives of billions. Yes, Helen said. We are offering you a future better than anything you can imagine. All we ask in return is that you acknowledge our rightful place in the galaxy and compensate us fairly for what was taken. Elder Morgeth closed his old eyes and thought for a long time. When he opened them again, he looked very tired. You are asking us to completely restructure galactic civilization. We are asking you to accept reality, Helen replied. Humanity is back. We are stronger than all of you combined. You can work with us and prosper, or you can fight us and lose everything. The meeting continued for 6 more hours, but the outcome was never really in doubt. The aliens could surrender with dignity and profit, or they could be conquered with shame and loss. There was no third option. When the talks finally ended, 12 alien governments had agreed to the human terms. The galaxy would never be the same again. 6 months after the Nexus Point Agreement was signed, the galaxy looked completely different. The Sol system where Earth orbited was once again under human control. 47 other star systems that had belonged to humans long ago were now human territory again. In exchange, alien civilizations were slowly learning to use amazing human technology under careful agreements. Captain Tony Miller stood on the bridge of the UES Enterprise, the flagship of humanity's new exploration fleet. He watched through the main window as they approached Earth for the first time in over 300 years. The planet still showed scars from the nuclear bombs that humans had set off to fake their own death, but huge terraforming ships were already working to heal the damage. Tony was 40 years old with brown hair and kind eyes. Like most humans alive today, he had been born in the secret colonies beyond the edge of the galaxy. He had grown up hearing stories about the legendary homeworld that his people had been forced to abandon. It is beautiful, whispered Lieutenant Jenny Adams. She was looking at the blue and green world that filled their view screen. Her voice was full of wonder and emotion. Tony nodded as he thought about the long journey that had brought them home. Humanity's exile had been their own choice. It was a desperate plan to escape the civil wars that were destroying their civilization. They had pretended to go extinct, hidden in the darkness between galaxies, and spent 3 centuries becoming something much stronger. "Captain," said Commander Alex Turner from his communication station, "we are getting messages from the planet's surface. The advance teams have made contact with survivor communities." Tony raised his eyebrows in surprise. "Survivors?" Alex looked confused as he read his instruments. "Yes, sir. Small groups of humans managed to live through the nuclear destruction. In underground cities and sealed shelters. They have been rebuilding slowly over the centuries, but they never developed space travel. Sir, they think we are aliens coming to invade them." Tony could not help but laugh. "Well, I suppose from their point of view, we are aliens. Get ready to send down a diplomatic team. Make sure they understand we are human just like them." As the Enterprise moved into orbit around Earth, similar scenes were happening all across the galaxy. Human ships were setting up new trade routes, building research stations, and beginning the complex job of working together with alien civilizations that had thought humans were just myths. The Galactic Council had been completely reorganized. Humanity now held 5 seats on the ruling council, which matched their military and economic power. Ambassador Helen Parker had become the first human Secretary General, leading a new era of cooperation and growth, but the most important change was not about politics or economics. For 300 years, the galaxy had known peace mainly because no single species was strong enough to conquer everyone else. The balance of power had kept wars small and conflicts manageable. Now that balance was gone. In its place was something new, a peaceful empire led by overwhelming strength. Humanity did not need to conquer worlds when they could simply make better offers than anyone else could match. Tony watched Earth's first sunrise in 3 centuries shine through the Enterprise's windows. He remembered the words Admiral Phillips had spoken at the ceremony marking humanity's return. "We were legends because we chose to be. We are real because we chose to come home." On the planet's surface, human teams were working with the Earth survivors to rebuild the great cities. New York, London, Tokyo, and 100 other places that had been destroyed were rising again with technology that seemed like magic. Meanwhile, throughout alien space, the benefits of human partnership were becoming clear. The Zentari had solved their energy crisis using human fusion technology. The Vorthak were using human medical advances to extend their crystal-based lives by centuries. The Aquari had learned to terraform dead worlds into ocean paradises, but the humans were careful about what they shared. The most powerful weapons and the secrets of dimensional travel remained human only. Humanity ruled through strength, but they ruled fairly. Tony received a message from Admiral Phillips, who was now the supreme commander of all human forces. "Tony, we are ready to begin the next phase. Start planning the deep space exploration. Missions, it is time to see what lies beyond the edge of our galaxy." Tony smiled as he thought about the future. Humanity had returned to reclaim their old territory, but they were not planning to stop there. The universe was vast and full of wonders waiting to be discovered. With their advanced technology and powerful fleets, humans could explore farther than any species had ever gone before. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the scientist who had first discovered that humans were still alive, was now working in a joint human-alien research station. She was studying genetic samples from worlds at the very edge of the galaxy, looking for signs of new life forms. "Captain Miller," she reported over subspace communication, "we are detecting unusual energy readings from the Andromeda Galaxy. There might be intelligent life there that we have never encountered before." Tony felt excitement rise in his chest. Humanity had conquered their old enemies and reclaimed their birthright. Now they could turn their attention to the greatest adventure of all. Exploring the unknown, the galaxy had learned that some legends were real. Humanity had been thought extinct, but they had returned stronger than ever before. They had shown The universe that patience, planning, and superior technology could overcome any obstacle. As Tony gave orders to prepare for humanity's next great journey, he thought about the children who would grow up in this new galaxy. They would know humans not as legends or myths, but as the people who had brought peace, prosperity, and hope to countless worlds. The war fleet that had shocked the galaxy into submission was now becoming an exploration fleet that would carry human dreams to distant stars. Humanity's greatest victory was not the one they had won through battle, but the future they had built through wisdom and strength. The legends had become reality, and reality had become legend.